Hi, Pranav.
Hello, good afternoon. So, good afternoon to everyone who's joined in. We'll be starting the keynote in just a few minutes. Till then, here's some content to let you get to know about Vidyadrishti and about the Writeathon a bit more. So, welcome everyone to the Vidyadrishti GAD celebration for 2021. It's great to be in front of you. My name is Pranav, and just for some perspective, I would say I just work at Vidyadrishti. So, what is Vidyadrishti? And you might be wondering because you may have heard the name once or twice, but we never really told quite a few of you the whole story. So, Vidyadrishti really started as a thought. Okay, it started as an idea and an imagination of uniting all writers and tech enthusiasts under one community. Okay, it started on April the 10th last year, and we first went official in October, making our first public appearance actually in December, specifically on December the 3rd. And since then, we've actually been conducting events and making quite a few public appearances to talk about changes and other things. So, just for some context on how things have gone so far at Vidyadrishti, our core team, the behind-the-scenes team that's been doing all the work, was 3 people at first, including me. We were just 3 guys, and that was in December. Well, now in May, we're actually 10 people, so not the biggest of improvements, but we're 10, and the advantage here is that we 10 are 10 highly skilled, I'm not speaking for myself, but 10 highly skilled and very, very enthusiastic people in the team. But what about our community? Because we said that we wanted to unite everyone under one community. Well, we started out with no community really. When we made our public appearance in December, no one knew who we were except for ourselves. Now we're over 40. With quite a few events, 3 to be precise, and a lot of live streams talking about ourselves. We have over 42 people. In many cases, 15. Actually, you can say 50 people, in fact, in this community. 50 actively enthusiastic people. So it's a great community to work in. But what do we do? What attracts these people to join our community? Well, it's simple. We want to make people into better writers, because we understand that writing has seeped into every single career there is today. It's not just for people who create content, it's for everyone. We as developers write change logs and documentation. Business majors might actually write accounting statements, reports, and the list goes on. So we want to make these people into better writers. But not just that, we want to bridge the gap between the so-called disabled community and the so-called abled community via this community of our own. And we do this in a few ways. So we don't actually follow, or we strive not to follow, rather, the conventional learning methods. Rather, just going and exploring in our own ways to make sure that our community can function on its own, to be creative enough to find its own ways of learning how to write. We try to give the people in our community the freedom to express themselves in that way. But writing is not the only thing we do, of course. That's why we're here. Our team, is full of tech enthusiasts. And so is our community. We believe that tech is the driving force in today's day, in today's world, rather. And thus, we strive to empower, to educate, to make our community aware of the latest cutting-edge technology. And since our team is diverse in the so-called disabled sector, accessibility is at our core. Good afternoon to all of you. It's wonderful to be here today, and this marks the start of a new week. It's great to see all of you joined in, and as I said in my message, this is what it leads up to. 1 month of preparation, 1 month of advertising, 1 month of breaking our backs over trying to get everything settled in, 1 month of making sure that all of you knew what we were up to, 1 month of ensuring that everything was teased out, leads to this 1 week. This 1 week of writing, this 1 week of expressing yourself. In fact, our slogan really conveys it well. 1 week of making sure you rise up as the spark from the dark. And that's what Vidyadrishti stands for. Here's a quick logo for you all. It's, for those who cannot see the screen, it's a boy with sparks flying out of his head. Kind of looks on fire with excitement. And that's what Vidyadrishti stands for. It's great to see all of you here today, and I can't be more excited to have you guys through this week and hopefully on upcoming Vidyadrishti endeavors and adventures as well. We won't be taking too much of your time today because we all know it's a Sunday. But we'll try to make this worthwhile for you, and we'll try to make sure all of you understand what's Vidyadrishti about, and we'll make sure that all of you enjoy it. I'd like to thank a few people before beginning. I'd like to thank my entire team, consisting of Moksh, consisting of Kavya, Shubhika, who is not here, Hood, Shiva, and Mr. Subramani Lakshmi, Mr. Akhilesh Malani, and Muskan, and Shitij as well. These guys have been wonderful in helping us out. A special thanks to Moksh and Shitij. Shitij is not here, I believe, for helping us market the entire Writeathon. Also, thanks to Shitij for helping me edit the entire thing out, the first video. I'd like to thank some other help. Well, thanks to Akhilesh for making this PPT for me. And, without these people, it would not be possible. I'd also like to thank Akshay Serv, who has been helping me externally coordinate the Vidyadrishti's website for a long time now, and who's worked exceptionally hard to make sure that things are smooth up and they're smoothened out in the run up to today's keynote. So what is Vidyadrishti as such? Before we move on though, if you guys do have any questions, write in the chat, or you can just, keep them in, and we will cover questions at the end. Most keynotes don't do that, but let's do that today. Also, it would be cool if you could switch on your videos, because we're trying
Pranavaji,
something
your
new.
voice is breaking.
Vidyadrishti. Oh, it should be better now. Is it better?
It is better now, yes.
Yeah, okay. So as I was saying, it would be cool if you could keep all your videos on, and because we're trying an immersive view, and let's see how that works. It would also be cool if you have any questions. As soon as my keynote and my rant is over, you can put them in and ask your questions or any thoughts you do have. So what is Vidyadrishti as such, really? I mean, as you heard probably in that extract from actually our VD GAD celebration, the Global Accessibility Awareness Day celebration we had in 2021. Um, but that was back in May. So what is Vidyadrishti as such, or VD, for short? Well, as I said there, it started out as a thought. It started out as, to be very frank, an accident. Um, it was one of those incidents where we were thinking about um, a possible solution to a problem we had, in that case trying to find a book of the month for a creative writing class, and we ended up coming up with Vidyadrishti as a platform. We launched up on the 3rd of December, and that was a fun day because it could have really gone downhill from there, but it turns out it didn't go downhill from there. And Vidyadrishti, well, we would continue to really enjoy our time with Vidyadrishti as such. Um, we held some events. Notably, we started out with Journey of the Pen with the incredible Mrs. Chandrika R. Krishnan, a short story writer, and she gave a wonderful event. In fact, you can check it out at our YouTube channel. The event is still there. We also went on to go and make an event on writing with two fingers with another incredible person, Ashwin Karthik, who talked about his own experience writing two books having cerebral palsy. In fact, he still remains with us to this day, giving talks at Vidyadrishti and reading a lot of stuff that we come up with. Then, I guess the most important event till date for us, well, actually, the second most important event was the VD Writers Camp. And some of you might actually have been there for the VD's Writers Camp. It was basically an event where we had 7 days or 8 days rather, and we had different authors that came in. And the funny thing was, as Moksh and I were actually conversing the other day, that was the event where we struggled the most because every day for almost like 5 days, plans just remained changed because of emergencies. But it turned out to be fun because we had to then plan on our feet. And to date, the most important event for us has been just an update. Um, this has been an event that really defines what we stand for. It's been the event where we solidify ourselves, and it has been a huge success. And that brings us to the Writeathon today, because the Writeathon is another of those events which really, really encapsulates everything that Vidyadrishti stands for. And that is writing with freedom, writing without a thought in your mind, writing without self consciousness. And I'll get to that in just a moment. But there must be some people who are the kind of nerd kind of people out there and who need some stats. Well, let me tell you, Vidya Drishti has been quite interesting. We started out struggling a lot. And I'm going to give this in terms of how much data has been transferred between the site and clients. We cannot see the data that has been transferred, but we can see how much has been transferred. And they're quite interesting metrics, to be honest. Um, we've had you know we've had 1.97 megabytes in July, which was quite depressing, and then we saw 24 MB, which is around well a 230% increase, to be honest, between July and August. And then September saw another 50% hike. So really, Vidya Drishti is a space for everyone to write more. And it can't be better at this stage, because what we try to focus on at Vidya Drishti is to make sure you write without a thought, to make sure you don't have self-consciousness, self-doubt, or any sort of second thoughts in your mind, and we make sure you just put out what you're feeling. And thus, I would encourage you all to visit the link on the slides. That's www.vidyadrishti.net to go and start writing today. Wonderful. So we covered what Vidyadrishti is, however. But let's talk about, well, we keep making changes, right? We keep making changes to Vidyadrishti. We keep changing things that we have on our site. we keep changing policies, and we keep changing and improving the experience that you as a writer get, putting your content at the center of everything that we do. And that has brought us to start out with our first change. And for that first change, which is a profile and following system improvement, I'd call on, well, before I call him on, let me tell you what it's about. That was a twist. You didn't see that coming. So, we launched a profile and following system in just an update that was in July. It was pretty clunky at the time, but it was well received. People have continuously made their profiles. Every single account that you create seamlessly gets a profile of its own. And you're able to easily get all your information across there with no character limit in your bio. And you could even follow people with their new articles coming straight to your email. And that functionality has extended to comments today as well. I'm happy to announce that today, when you comment on someone's article, the author gets an email with the content. And that would allow you as an author to really get forth, engage with the people who read your articles, aka your readers, engage with the community. And that will allow you as a reader to expect a reply faster, as the author doesn't have to keep scouring the website every day. Our email system has been wonderful, and we've seen how this has helped a lot of people. But we always improve our work, don't we? And to tell you how we've improved the profiles and following system, I'd like to call on our head of marketing, Moksh. Over to you, Moksh.
Yeah, thanks for that, Pranav. So, as Pranav said, the profile and following system was a bit clunky when it was introduced in July, but it was actually a really fascinating feature of the website. And obviously, one of the latest features that we have updated is the fact that authors receive emails. And just to touch on that first, like for me, since I put up articles on the website, I think it's really been helpful. As if anybody gives any feedback to me or writes any comment on my article, as Pranav said, I don't need to scour the website. I get it directly in my inbox. So that's one of the features that has made it better. And as for the following and profile system, I think that system has become much faster, much more efficient, and much easier to actually do. And also, if anyone does like to update their profile, it gets updated throughout every single thing on Vidyadrishti. So even if you change your name, you will not lose your articles or the number of smiles that you get on your article. And I think you can also add your own bio. I think that was there earlier as well. But just to touch on that, you can add a short bio, uh, essentially of yourself, where you can just talk about who you are and what you like to write about. And yeah, so I think overall, as Pranav said, we've really improved that now, and it's become a much better user experience for everyone on the site.
Thank you, Moksh. It's so great to hear about our profile system. And one more thing that people had asked us was the bio itself, right? People wanted to put links to their social media on the bio. We listen to the community. We depend on the community. And as such, we have made the changes to serve the community. Now, starting from today, you will be able to put links to your bio, and you'll be able to have people click on them and visit your different social profiles. This allows for interconnectivity. I also want to touch on another thing about smiles. We introduced smiles in just an update back in July to encourage people to show their appreciation for articles, to motivate authors to be able to create even more and better content. I'm happy to announce today that there have been so many people smiling that one of our initial features has been we'd had to scrap. That was the email author to smile, because people were just getting smiled, and then we realized that later on that would create completely full inboxes. Smiles have gotten 25% faster. Smiling in an article does not lag as it did at one point, and there are no 500 internal server errors you get. I'm sure you guys must have been annoyed by that. I was annoyed by that too. I write quite a few articles there, and I was annoyed. Well, speaking of articles, here is the point where I'd like to talk about, and I'd like to update on what I talked about in just an update. Personally, I have written my series. I told you in just an update that I'd write a series called Mayday, which is on an airplane losing fuel over the Pacific Ocean. All the 5 parts of the series are now out on the Vidyadrishti site, and you can scour the website to view all those parts. As are a lot of other things like sports roundups from Moksh. Moksh, can you maybe spend a minute talking about your sports roundup?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, in August, I'd actually begun writing weekly sports roundups that just takes a look at all of the major events in global sport. And while that had gone down a bit, I will be rewriting those from this week again, where I may not exactly look at around like summarizing each and every sporting event, but I will be giving my take on some of the more major sporting occurrences that happened this month and this week. So y'all can follow me on VD at Moksh Jhaveri, and y'all will get all the updates that y'all need.
Thank you, Moksh. I can't wait to read more of your sports roundups, particularly as a sports buff myself. One more prospect that has been in the making is from our test lead, Kavya. She's been working on some reviews, and I'd like Kavya if you could come up for a minute and just talk about what you're planning to upload on VD. You were mentioning it the other day.
Okay, so I don't have any definite plans as yet, but I am thinking of making some reviews. So originally, what I thought of, so this is going into a bit of my own hobby, which is to play what are called audio games, which are basically like consider them as video games for the blind. And my idea was that since articles can be anything, I was thinking of uploading some reviews of those on the site in case people actually find them beneficial or useful. I can't promise that I will have them out at this particular date or that particular date, because as our slogan says, honestly, you have to get inspiration to write. But I will try and be somewhat regular about it. I've been doing some plans. I also want to, if I can, since I have read a few things, I also want to eventually get around to some book reviews, but I literally don't have any plans for that. So I can't promise anything about that, but it is something I want to do eventually.
Thanks, Kavya. I cannot wait for it. It sounds like an exciting prospect and one that will really intrigue a lot of people. Before we move on, can you please give me an indication that I'm audible?
Yes, you are, Pranav.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My last piece of art, my last article, or one that I want to publish, is about getting people interconnected. Talking about social media, talking about ways that you can connect with communities. As Mark Zuckerberg once said, change starts local. Change starts with you, but it also starts with the community around you. It starts with the family around you, then it moves on, and moves in concentric circles. As such, I want to talk more about communication. And let's talk about communication because when you have a community, communication is quite important. I'm happy to announce, and you guys may have seen this coming up, the Vidyadrishti or VD community WhatsApp group. Yeah, everyone uses WhatsApp, even after that weird privacy policy thing. I do too. And WhatsApp is the most easy platform to communicate with people. It's forgiving. It just lets you move on with your life after writing a message. But it also lets you keep in touch with those who are important to you. For us, it's our community. And as such, we at VD have finally opened up our VD community WhatsApp group. You can find it under the contact page on our website. And all you got to do is just click on the link and join. And we look forward to all of you joining up that WhatsApp group and some cool discussions there. Here's the next revolutionary feature. Because when you're writing articles, you also want to present your content in one way, right? We mentioned that content is at the center of what you do at Vidyadrishti. And we work exceptionally hard to make sure that your content, well, is appealing, but also allows you to structure it in a way that you want. As such, today we're taking a big step towards that goal. We're taking a huge step to making sure you are in control of your content by introducing the Markdown Editor. In fact, I'd like to show this to you today. The Markdown Editor, before I move on to a demo, is basically the refinement of the Vidyadrishti's text editor for articles. It will also be extending to different parts, but it's a refinement of Vidyadrishti's article editor for now. And it gives you unprecedented control over formatting and over media in your articles. How does it work? Well, let me just show you. So let's quickly jump into a Chrome window here. And let's open up Vidyadrishti's site. I am already logged in. So I'm going to go to articles and blogs. And let's go to post new article. Let's give it a title quickly.
Oh, Pranav, I don't think we can hear your screen if you.
No, I have disabled the audio since that
okay.
might cause lag.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
So these are very accessible with the screen reader, by the way. You can just tab around. But in the title, let me just, I don't know. Let me say, I'd like to keep this as a draft because I'm traveling to Kodaikanal. Moksh, can you spell that to me? I do not know the spelling of Kodaikanal.
I'm actually unaware myself.
Anyone who has the spelling of Kodaikanal can chip in. If not, I'm just going to take a guess. Let's take a guess. Kodaekenal. What does it sound like?
Hey Pranav,
Hi.
it's Kodaikanal.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that?
Kodaai.
Kodaikanal.
It's one word, Pranav.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. This just
No
goes to show. Okay.
worries.
So let me put a title of my travel to Kodaikanal. This is an article I would love to write continuously later on. Let's write my travel to Kodaikanal. I don't know. Living life without a care. And in synopsis, let me write in this article. I break down my travel to Kodaikanal with my family. Read on, be taken on a tour of the wonderful hill station with clean air. Let's go with blogs for the category. And here we go. So we've got a lot of options here. We've got bold, italic, heading. We've got a quote. We've got generic list, numbered list. I'm reading this out for people who can't see the screen. A generic list, by the way, is a bulleted list. We can create a link. We can even insert an image. And here we've got a few preview options where you can toggle the preview on or off. You can switch on side by side. You can switch on full screen. And then we've got even a markdown guide. And there are shortcut keys to this. So let me put a heading by pressing Control H and typing, when did I go? When did I go? Let me write the date here, the 13th to the 17th of October. I will also be quickly putting in here. Let me, I won't exactly be showing all the features, but what I do want to show is the link quickly. So what I'm going to do is, let me say to know more about my travel. Follow me on Instagram and then I can literally just open the link insert tool by pressing Control K. And then I can type in the URL. So it already fills in the https:// and mine is just instagram.com/techwithphoenix. And it puts it there. And if we look outside the article, you can see there's some data about your article. What happens if I reload this page? And let's look at Let's look at the end of the thing. It actually saves the body of your article. It saves everything about it, and it's an autosave feature. So until you submit your article, everything is actually saved in the cache of your browser. We think this is a huge step forward in terms of creating content, in terms of diversity. And in fact, you can see some articles. Let me actually show them to you that have been written using these conventions. So if I go to article and blogs, and if I go to this one written by Karthik Cheers, who is a good friend of mine. And if you can see, this uses a lot of headings. It uses a lot of headings and some bold text too. And this is quite cool. This looks much better than the generic article. Let's look at another one, shall we? This one written by me on the recently released Windows 11. And you can see this actually even has a link. That's my YouTube, one of my YouTube channel, well, one of my YouTube videos is link. And this uses multiple levels of headings just by adding those heading shortcuts continuously. That's the Markdown editor, and we can't see we can't wait to see rather what you create using the Markdown editor. One final change that has been made, apart from minor things such as much better improved search, is the forgot password screen. It's a very simple concept, but it's very important. And the reason we didn't add it yet is because we wanted to make sure that we got it right. And I can say today that we have got it right, taking your security and convenience into, well, as our best interests. How does it work? Well, you click on the reset password link, which can be found in your login screen and in the edit profile screen. You type in your username. It sends you an email with an OTP. You paste the OTP or type it in. If the OTP is correct, that's cool. You can change your password and then you log in. That's it. Takes around 2 minutes. And the cool thing is the security is unprecedented. The OTP changes every time you reload the page. So the OTP has a very short expiration time. Well, it's kind of dynamic, to be honest. And this is a very, very cool feature because it makes sure that no one resets your password rather besides you, giving you control of your Vidyadrishti account and your Vidyadrishti profile. We think this is going to help a lot of users. Apart from that, I'd like to quickly give a shout out to Karthik, who called out two very important changes that we made on the site, Karthik Balasubramaniam, that is. The first one actually being the final removal of the age requirement. We had kept the age edit box around. We had removed the requirement to have a certain age group in April. And today, I can announce that Vidyadrishti no longer asks for your age at all. Your age remains your own, and we have no right to keep it with ourselves. As such, you will not be prompted for an age, and it won't create this weird thingy where it tells you can only be between 8 and 25 years. The second one is a quick bug fix in the profile system, and that is the email link. It was always showing email Pranav, or sometimes it would show blank. For some reason, the website appeared to be narcissistic, or maybe that's just me. Anyway, today I can announce that the link finally shows the proper email address, and it works seamlessly, opening in your default email client, allowing you to write the creator an email right away using whatever email address you want to. These are some changes that we are really, really happy about. And we can't wait to see what you create with the tools that we have placed in your hands, especially since the Writeathon is coming. The Writeathon. Yes, the Writeathon. What is it? To answer that question, let's give it over to Moksh, who spoke wonderfully about it actually just the other day. And Moksh, would you mind telling them about what the Writeathon is?
Oh, yes,
and what are its
absolutely,
goals?
Pranav. So the Writeathon, so at VD, we believe the writing is something that is extremely important. no matter whether you want to become a writer or not. Writing is something that all of us use in our daily lives. And if we can write effectively, it gives us an extremely effective modicum of expressing our thoughts and our ideas. And therefore, we at VD believe that we want to encourage everyone, no matter what their background, to be able to write in a way in which their ideas can be engaged by other readers, which will only allow their ideas to flourish. And therefore, we at VD have organized our Writeathon, which is something that I'm personally really for, because I'm very excited to see what all of you can write about. And at VD, we've actually provided you all a whole host of around 31 themes from which you all can choose and write about almost anything under the sun, actually. And so we hope that you all can. So the topics range from things like mystery to finance. So it's almost anything that you could ever dream of writing about. So we look forward to seeing all of you all at the Writeathon. And Pranav will take you all through the details now.
Thank you very much. The Writeathon is still open to registrations until tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. when we'll have the opening ceremony of the Writeathon. And you all can team up or go solo. Teams are restricted to 4 people. You got to write between 500 to 5,000 words. That's a huge spectrum. And upload it onto the Vidyadrishti website. So I'd suggest getting familiar with the layout. Well, how does it range? Well, tomorrow we have the opening ceremony, and you will be sent a link for that, and that link will actually be used for every subsequent Zoom meeting. On the 14th of October, we will be having Mr. Subramani Lakshmi, our head of events and chief copy editor at Deccan Herald for, well, he's been working at Deccan Herald at least for a long, long time. He will be taking us through editing your work, because that'll kind of be the business end of the Writeathon, right? Where you've written a few drafts and you're trying to edit your work, make sure you don't, make sure your work sounds good. And he'll take you through a process that might help you editing your work. 17th at 11 a.m. is when the Writeathon ends. And that's when you guys stop submitting submissions for the Writeathon. And on the 24th is when the results are announced. What do you get if you win? Well, you get a chance to get part of the Vidyadrishti's team, the core team. And you also get my course on audience building for free. So building, whether it's, social media or something about your business, you get it for absolutely free. That's the Writeathon, and that is what I'm most excited for. I can't wait to see what you guys create in the Writeathon. But with that, let me open it up for people who have questions, people who have thoughts or suggestions or anything as such. And you guys can just unmute or write it in the chat. Can we have Moksh probably look at the chat if anyone's put in questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
As and when people write in. So it's open to all of you now. If you have questions, suggestions, comments, anything.
Yeah, Pranav, actually, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I wanted to ask you about that series of articles that you've written. Any particular reason why you didn't use any Indian sounding names?
Sorry?
Any particular reason why you didn't use any Indian sounding names?
Indian sounding names for what? Sorry?
For that.
For your Mayday article, I think.
For my Mayday article, the reason is actually it's based on real events. With my own imagination. This is actually Robert Pichet and I believe the other guy, I forget his name exactly. But yeah, these two were actually, these were actually real people.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was fiction.
This happened in 2001. In fact, what I'll do is this incident very well by Wonder, which is a YouTube channel. And they, well, and these guys had this, they documented this entire thing. And it's basically, Mayday is just, these real events coupled with my own imagination of how the investigation and stuff would have gone.
Then it's a good job. My mistake. I thought it was fiction. So I was wondering why
Yeah,
you
no
didn't
problem.
use any Indian sounding names.
No problem. In fact, I believe I'd written that it was based on real, but in the last article is where I'd actually mentioned that this is based on a real story.
Oh,
That's a good question.
I must have missed
Sridhar
that.
Rangarajan, you've got something to say. Go ahead. You raised your hand, sir.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, very clearly indeed.
I can write about my personal profile, no? About what I do on autism, because I'm also a painter. That's why. Can I write about my...
You can write about anything really. We've even in fact got a topic on inclusion where it includes anything that you want to write about, personal stories and everything else. So you can really write about anything. The only, I would say, rule is just make sure in the synopsis of your article mention which theme have you chosen, right? That would be kind of cool so that we get to know what have you chosen as such. So other than that, really you can just write about the sky is the limit as far as those 32 themes that we've got. So it's a very broad spectrum, and you are free to write about your person. In fact, we really love to read that.
Okay. Thank you, Pranav.
Why? Thanks. Good question. Any others? Even if you have comments or suggestions or anything really, you can file them away.
Yeah, I had one. I think science fiction was missing in your list of.
Science, I believe science fiction was there. It was not a specific category. It was included.
Even I think it was there as part
We
of.
will check it again and report back to you.
If it's there, it's fine. Sorry, again, my mistake.
Yeah, science fiction, I believe. In fact,
I think it was one of the sub themes, Pranav, if I remember.
It was
correctly.
one of the sub themes, yeah, because we've got 32 broad themes as such, and then we've got many. Each theme includes like a lot of sub themes, right?
Oh,
So.
yeah. Not that what I've written is science fiction, but I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, science fiction is there. In fact, I think someone from the team pushed very hard for science fiction. They were all for it, and
Yeah.
So science fiction is there.
Yeah. Maybe I should write one someday.
Sure, I would love to read it, actually. We would all love to read it.
Mine is actually basically an indirect highlighting of social grievance kind of thing.
That would actually be very cool, to be honest. I would love to see that.
Yeah, because I didn't want to do anything directly, so it's quite kind of indirect.
Yeah, that would be fun to read. Looking forward to that, really, actually.
Thank you, Pranav.
Others, any other questions, comments, or suggestions? Even VD members are open at this point. They can.
Pranav, I really appreciate all the efforts that you've taken, to fix all the bugs, and you've been coming up with a lot of creative ideas, that will definitely make this website a global one. I'm sure about it, and it'll be an inclusive website. It's already the notion of forming Vidyadrishti itself is inclusivity, and I'm sure this website will go places. And I promise to continue my contribution.
Thank you very much.
Writing my articles.
Yeah, Shiva's been a very active participant on Vidyadrishti too. He's part of content for us, and he's a great writer. I would really encourage you guys to follow him, show him some support, and read all his work, because he writes some very good articles that help in communication and things like that. So. Again, huge thanks to Karthik Balasubramaniam. I don't know if he's here, but if he's not, he'll probably listen to this later. Huge thanks to him too. He's written some cool stuff, and he was quite adamant on spotting bugs. So good job there. Any other thoughts? I'll keep it open for a few more minutes. All right. So that concludes the keynote for today, and we can't wait to see all of you tomorrow at the Writeathon and during the first ceremony. We can't wait to read all of your work, and thus we will see you all tomorrow for the first and opening ceremony of the VD Writeathon. All the best, guys. Make this a spark from the dark.
Thank you.
Actually, before we leave, though, I'd like to leave you guys with one thing. We've been talking about VD throughout this entire turn. And there's one 1-minute clip we call Get Creative that really shows and embodies everything that Vidyadrishti stands for. Enjoy this, and we will see you tomorrow. We leave you with this.
From the spark into dark springs forth the flame of imagination, fueling creativity, flying to unseen lands and experiences. We find words to capture the magic before it melts into the daily flow of life. Every time the words form sentences and create free-flowing prose, your heart leaps in you. We know it's special because we at Vidyadrishti are creators like you. And we know that your imagination is precious. Come, write with us at Vidyadrishti.
Thank you all for attending today, and we will see you tomorrow. This is Vidyadrishti signing off for today.
Thank you.